Hi, I'm Jane Marsilio, the music teacher behind Silio Music, and welcome to part 1 of Remix and Reuse Music Materials for Maximum Benefit. This is part 1, which will focus on the lower elementary grades, and stay tuned for part 2 for the upper elementary grades with Melissa Engstadt. We've all had those lessons that did not go as planned, but instead of scrapping the activity altogether, sometimes all it takes is the right tweak to turn things around. I'll be sharing some practical adjustments that have helped me bring activities back to life. Most of the time it comes down to one of 3 moves: add something, swap something out, or take something away. Let's look at how small changes can lead to big wins in your classroom. Also, I'm not on Facebook, so if you have a question or comment, you can add it to the YouTube video or email me at siliomusic@gmail.com. Thanks. When you're lesson planning, an activity might seem like it's going to be a guaranteed smash hit, and sometimes it is, but other times it just doesn't connect. That's okay. The key is knowing how and when to adjust. If a class is super high energy and bouncing off the walls, I found it helps to take something away. Simplify the activity so they can focus on fewer, more targeted tasks. The key is to uncomplicate things so that their focus isn't pulled away by too many distractions. On the flip side, if a class is more reserved or socially anxious, I might swap something out to give them more choices and lower the barrier to participation. For example, give them an option to listen or sing. And instead of having them interact with a partner, let them participate in groups of 3 or 4, which may be less intimidating than one-on-one. If your students seem bored, it may be worth trying to add something new, like a new twist, an instrument, a prop, or even just a silly voice. These adjustments can change from year to year or class to class. Trust your instincts and don't try to power through something that isn't working. Mixing it up might be exactly what they need. Not everything will work perfectly, but that's part of the joy of experimentation and learning about your students. Finger plays are short, but that doesn't mean they can't be versatile. Let's take a look at Grandma's glasses as an example. These are Grandma's glasses. This is Grandma's hat. This is the way she folds her hands and puts them in her lap. These are Grandpa's glasses. This is Grandpa's hat. This is the way he folds his arms, just like that. When you have a high energy class, let's start taking away options for them to become distracted by keeping the pacing super fast. You can start by saying the rhyme and just have them listen. Then repeat the finger play and pause to let them fill in the words at the end of each phrase. Keep doing this until they can fill in the phrases. This may take several class periods. Once they can say the rhyme and do the motions, challenge them to say it faster and faster and faster. It also helps children focus more intently on the lyrics. For reserved or anxious groups, try swapping out the movements of the finger play with props, simple instruments, or body percussion. This gives them something to focus on besides the other people in the room. Keep the movements simple and repetitive. For example, with Grandma's glasses, you could give each child rhythm sticks or sandpaper blocks and have them put the blocks in front of their eyes for glasses, over their heads for a hat, and then rub or tap them together for the final line. If you have a class that's not engaged, you can spice things up with silly voices. Try an old granny voice, or maybe your granny is super stylish and has fancy designer frames. You can use a snooty voice to go along with this. You can even pretend she's a cat. Change the words up to say these are Kitty's glasses and use paws instead of hands. Then switch it up to different animals, a horse, an octopus, a robot, and utilize their imaginations and creativity. Bottom line, the same song can land totally differently depending on the class and even the teacher, so don't be afraid to experiment. Sometimes the smallest tweaks can turn a meh song or rhyme into magic. If you use short songs to help children practice singing independently, you may notice that some traditional tunes don't really hit like they used to. Take Round and Round, a song about grinding corn that's in the First Steps in Music curriculum. Round and round the wheel goes round, as it turns the corn is ground. This song can be confusing for kids unless they understand why a wheel is turning and why corn is involved. To help them make the connection, start by asking them if they like foods like corn tortillas or cornbread. Then explain the process of making something like cornbread. We start with dry corn, grind it into cornmeal. It looks something like sand or flour at this point. Then we mix it with milk, eggs, and other ingredients to bake something delicious like cornbread. Adding photos or short video clips of this process brings it to life. You can also refresh the lyrics by swapping out the word corn for another favorite food just to be a little silly. But make sure you set a clear boundary or you'll get suggestions like grinding poop or people. Adding movement is another great way to enhance the song. Try asking for circular motions and use things like grinding your hands together while singing the song, making a wheels on the bus motion, drawing circles in the air, pretending to stir a pot. If you want to raise the energy, just speed it up. Repeat the rhyme faster and faster with the motions. Kids will love trying to keep up. This same approach works well with other songs that reference older or less familiar concepts like cobblers cobbling shoes or farriers shoeing horses. A quick photo or video can go a long way in helping students connect with the history behind the song. Another fun thing to do is to pull out a cool prop if you're singing about a ball or something round. I like to take a gathering drum and flip it on its side and sing the song as me and another student roll the gathering drum back and forth to each other. I don't have a photo of myself rolling the gathering drum, but you can use imagery like a hay bale with the children if you're singing about songs with a farm theme. What's a music class without games? You've probably tried Poison Rhythm or Poison Melody with your classes. If you haven't, this is how you play. You flip through a set of flashcards and the students perform the patterns. However, there's one pattern that keeps popping up. That's the poison rhythm or melody. If they perform it, they're out. You keep playing until there's one student left. Here are some ideas for how to tweak the game. For high energy classes, you can simplify the game by taking away the elimination aspect and allowing everyone to keep playing in order to stay focused. For unengaged classes, you can incorporate their imagination by adding a storyline. Maybe the class is trapped in a dragon's lair and the last student standing is the musical hero who frees everyone who's been eliminated, and then the game can start again. You and your students can come up with new storylines every class and have a mini celebration at the end of the game. For example, the students are puppies and the last puppy finds the key to the treat cabinet. Then everyone celebrates by dancing to the Bluey theme song. For shy classes, you can skip the elimination or have them play the patterns on different instruments each week. And if they play the pattern incorrectly, they can just swap to a different instrument. I like using rhythm sticks, and I really like using castanets. With the castanets, they either place them on the carpet and tap them or place them in the palm of their hand and tap them. They don't make the open and closing motion with the thumb and fingers that older kids might use. Here's an example of how that's done using the song Cockles and Mussels. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. If you have a class that just can't handle elimination games, being out or not being it, here are some other ideas that might work. Chrissy Hutzel from Hutzel House of Music has a great twist on circle games like Charlie Over the Ocean, where there's someone who's it and sits in the middle. Instead of having one circle, make two circles. And the kids who are out during each round simply trade circles. So no one's in the middle, they just simply swap to another circle. If you want to use this idea in the winter, Chrissy has a fun snowballs activity kit that demonstrates this. I'll include a link for it in the handout. If your class can't get enough of elimination games, try musical four corners. This can also be tweaked, and instead of the chosen corner being out, let everyone keep playing. I've also included some answer sheets for kids who get distracted after being eliminated. This way, even if they're out, they can continue filling out the answer sheet with their guesses on which corner they think is correct. I first came up with this style of projectable four corners for the music room in 2014 after watching my kids play four corners for indoor recess. They absolutely loved it, and I'd love for you to check it out if you're looking for another elimination game. And if you're looking to turn an elimination game like Poison Rhythm into a non-elimination game, a new twist I'd like to add is rock, paper, scissors. So first I break the class into two teams, and then one person from each team will rock, paper, scissors each other. Whoever wins gets to perform the rhythm or melody on the flashcard. If they perform it correctly, their team gets a point. If you want something a little more automated, I have a series of PowerPoint games for this. It worked like a charm for a group of 5th grade boys who were too cool to sing. But once it became a game, the focus was off of the singing and it was more on the competition. And here's another twist for shy singers that I've added. The winner of rock, paper, scissors has an out, similar to Family Feud. So for kids who are extremely shy, if they win rock, paper, scissors, instead of performing the flashcard, they can pass the flashcard to the opposing team as a challenge to sing it correctly in one try. This helps them save face, even though it may result in the opposing team gaining a point. Kids rarely choose this option for me, but it's a good way to gently encourage the shy ones to participate. Lastly, if you want to make an activity more competitive, just make it teacher versus students. For example, if you're going through rhythm flashcards for a game like Poison Rhythm, see if they can perform all the flashcards correctly. If they slip up, put a letter B on the board, then E, then A, then T. That spells beat, like steady beat. But if they get to that T, it also means that they're beat and the teacher wins. I made up this game while student teaching and kids loved it. Plus, you can use this idea all the way up through high school. Movement activities are usually the part of the lesson that's the most likely to become chaotic. Take glue dancing, for example, where 1, 2, or more parts of a student's body are stuck to the floor while they dance. And they can dance to music or not. If glue dancing is getting too rowdy and the kids are not staying stuck in their spaces, you can add a bubble gun and blow bubbles over them as they try to pop the bubbles with their free limbs. Let them know that you won't blow the bubbles near them unless they keep to the rules and stay stuck. You can also simplify things so that they're only using 2 body parts and alternating between the 2 before introducing a 3rd body part. All right, your hand is stuck to the floor. Now your knee is stuck to the floor. Your hand, back to your knee, back to your hand. Now your bottom. And this gives them an opportunity to get more creative, even though the same body part is stuck. Adding props can work wonders, but remember that things like stretchy bands, parachutes, scarves, bean bags, or bubbles can make things worse if you're unclear about boundaries and what is allowed before you begin. If the class is really shy about moving in front of others, turn off the lights, have them close their eyes, and just imagine. As a starting point, have students glue their backs to the floor while you gently blow bubbles over them, or let them wave movement scarves. Then add a storyline. Ask, where are we going? What are you seeing, smelling, tasting, and so on? Every time the story changes, change which body part is stuck to the floor. You can also try this with freeze dance. I hope you're inspired to take some old lesson plan activities and tweak them for student success. Here are some resources that may help with the experimentation process or just give you some new ideas for new games. And these will all be linked in the handout as well. Also be sure to check out the rhythm, melody, and movement categories in the virtual conference booth at themusiccrew.com for more. Thanks for watching, and please stick around for part 2 of this session where Melissa Engstadt from Musical Interactions will share some really great ideas for use with upper elementary.